When was the last time you did something just for yourself and didn't feel a single ounce of guilt about it? I'm not talking about a big vacation, a luxury spa day, or anything grand. I'm talking about something small, an hour of silence, a free afternoon, a meal that you chose and only you. Think about it. Try to remember. It's taking a while, isn't it, my darling? And do you know what's heavier than not having that moment? It's realizing that even when you finally do, you can't actually enjoy it. Because that voice starts whispering. The voice that tells you that you should be doing something else, that there are people waiting on you, that this is selfish. That voice has a name, and today we're going to talk about it. Because there is a woman inside of you who has been growing quieter and quieter, slowly, without making a sound. Between taking care of everyone else, keeping all the plates spinning, and being everything to everyone, she was pushed to the back of the line. And maybe you've been feeling this for a long time, this emptiness, this exhaustion that doesn't go away even after a full night's sleep, this feeling that you lost yourself somewhere along the way, and you don't even know how to find her anymore. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm going to show you today can change the way you see yourself, forever. Hello, my darling, it's Diane here. And before we go any further, I need to tell you something very important. I'm not here to sell you a magic formula. I'm not going to tell you to just love yourself more, because I know that's not how it works. And you know that too. I'm here because I've been exactly where you are. I was the daughter who cared for aging parents while my siblings moved on with their lives. I was the wife who put her husband's dreams ahead of her own. I was the mother who said she was fine when she was anything but. I was the professional who stayed late because I was terrified of letting anyone down. And at some point, in the middle of all that, I looked at myself and realized I barely remembered who I was before I became all those things for everyone else. So when I talk about this, it's not because I read it in some book. It's because I lived it. And it's because I know, firsthand, the weight you're carrying. This channel exists for that very reason. To be the space I didn't have when I needed it most. A place where you can sit down, breathe, and start to reconnect with the woman you are, not just the roles you play. And in this video, specifically, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, where that guilt comes from every time you try to do something for yourself. It's not weakness. It's not drama. There is a very clear reason why this is happening. And once you understand that reason, something shifts. Second, a perspective that will completely transform the way you view self-care. It's something no one taught you, but they should have a long time ago. Third, 3 practical, small, and realistic actions that you can start using this very week. You won't need to turn your life upside down. You won't need perfect conditions. You can do this with the life you have, exactly as it is right now. The fact that you are here, watching this, tells me something important about you. A part of you already knows that the time has come. The time to stop putting yourself off until later. Let me describe your day. Not today specifically, but just a typical day. The kind of day that repeats itself so often you don't even notice it anymore. You wake up and immediately start thinking about everyone else. What the kids are going to eat. If your husband has an early meeting. If your mother called yesterday and you forgot to get back to her. The work that's piling up. The never-ending to-do list. Before you even take your first sip of coffee, your head is already full of everything that isn't you. And at some point during the day, you have a tiny need, something minuscule. You want to sit in silence for 10 minutes. You want to eat that snack you bought just for yourself. You want to watch an episode of your show before bed. You want to call a friend without having a scheduled time. You just want to stop, breathe, exist without being at the service of anyone or anything for a moment. And then one of 2 things happens. Either someone needs you at that exact second, and you let it go. Again, without complaining, without explaining, because it's automatic. It's what you've always done. It's what you were taught to do. Or you actually do that small thing for yourself, but you spend the whole time thinking about all the things you should be doing instead. That you're being selfish. that people are depending on you, that you can rest later once everything is settled, when the kids are asleep, when the project is finished, when life gives you a break. Except later never comes. Life doesn't give you a break, and everything is never completely settled. In both cases, you lose, my darling. Either you give up what you wanted or you get what you wanted but can't actually enjoy it. Because even when the moment belongs to you, your mind is still out there, taking care of everyone else. By the end of the day, you're exhausted. And it's not just physical tiredness. You know that kind. You know how to handle that. It's an exhaustion that goes deeper. It's that feeling that you spent the entire day giving yourself away. And yet, you still don't feel like you did enough, that you've been left behind, that there's something inside of you crying out for help in a low voice, and you still don't have the time to listen. This exhaustion has a name. And it's not drama. It's not ingratitude. It's not weakness. It is the result of years of living as if you were not a priority in your own life. Now, I need to tell you where this guilt comes from, because understanding the source is the first step toward leaving it behind. And I want you to truly understand this, not just in your head, but in your heart. From a very young age, girls are taught that taking care of others is a virtue, and that putting your own needs first is selfish. This message comes from family, from culture, from religion, and from society. Sometimes it's explicit, someone telling you exactly what you should or shouldn't do. Other times, it's in small gestures, in the things left unsaid, in the examples we absorb without realizing it, without questioning them, because it was all we knew. You saw your mother sacrifice herself, and you learned that was how you show love. You were praised when you put yourself last, and you learned that was what it meant to be good. You learned that love is proven through total self-sacrifice, that a good mother doesn't complain, that a good wife doesn't put her needs first, that a good daughter is always available, that a good professional gives everything without limits. And so, you grew up carrying all of that, internalizing it, building an entire identity on how much you can give to others. So when you try to do something for yourself, that voice pops up. You know the one. It says, "You're being selfish. There are more important things to do. Others need you. You can do this later." That voice is not your truth. It never was. It's a program that was installed in you over decades by people who were also programmed that way, who didn't know any other way. It wasn't out of malice. It was out of repetition, out of culture, out of a world that, for a long time, believed a woman's value was measured by how much of herself she gave away. But that program is outdated, and you don't have to run it anymore. What happens when you ignore yourself for too long? There is a version of you from 10 years ago who had plans, dreams, things she wanted to do, places she wanted to see, a version of herself she wanted to reach. And at some point, life happened. And those plans grew quieter and quieter. They were pushed to later, until one day, you forgot they were even yours. This isn't a midlife crisis. This is a real loss, gradual, silent, but real. You spent so much time being what everyone else needed that you lost the thread connecting you to yourself. And when you try to find yourself, you feel like you don't even know where to start. That's when the symptoms appear. That emptiness you can't quite explain to anyone, the anxiety that doesn't have a clear cause, the irritation that flares up out of nowhere, which you quickly swallow because you don't want to seem difficult. The loneliness you feel even when you're surrounded by people. That constant sense that something important is missing, but you don't know exactly what. What's missing is you. You, for yourself. And why is this moment, your 40s, 45, 50, different? Because something begins to shift in this phase of life. The kids grow up and need your constant presence less. Marriage enters a different stage. Your career reaches a point where it doesn't satisfy you the same way anymore. Suddenly, the structures that shaped your identity begin to transform. You look around and realize you've spent years being defined by the roles you played: mother, wife, daughter, professional. And now, with those roles changing in shape and intensity, a question arises. sometimes out loud, sometimes in a whisper in the middle of the night. Who am I when I'm not being what everyone else needs me to be? If that question gives you butterflies or makes your stomach sink, it's because it's real. It's because you've gone too long without asking it. But I need you to know something, my darling. That question isn't the end. It's the beginning. And the fact that you are here, willing to hear it, already says so much about who you are. Now I need to show you something that no one ever taught you. And when I say no one, I mean it. Not your mother, not school, not religion, not society. No one sat by your side, looked you in the eyes, and told you this with the clarity, the firmness, and the care that you deserve to hear. So, I'm going to tell you right now. Taking care of yourself is not the opposite of taking care of others. It is the absolute requirement for you to be able to keep taking care of them. Let me repeat that, because I want it to really sink in. Let it land. Let it reach that place inside you that has perhaps been waiting to hear this for a very long time. Taking care of yourself is not the opposite of taking care of others. It is the requirement for you to be able to keep taking care of them. You've heard the instructions they give on an airplane before takeoff, haven't you, my darling? In case of an emergency, put on your own oxygen mask before helping the child next to you. Why? Because if you pass out from a lack of oxygen, you can't help anyone. It's that simple. It's that obvious. No one on that plane questions those instructions. No one calls it selfish. Everyone understands it makes perfect sense, that you need to be okay so you can care for those who depend on you. But when we apply that same logic to real life, when a woman says she needs time for herself, that she has limits, that she can't give what she doesn't have, suddenly it becomes selfish. It becomes drama. It becomes ingratitude. She becomes the woman who only thinks about herself. Why? How does the same logic that is so obvious on a plane become wrong in everyday life? Because no one taught you any differently. Because the world spent centuries telling us that a woman's value was found in how much she sacrificed. And you absorbed that so deeply that today, when you try to put on your own mask, you feel like you're doing something wrong. You aren't. You never were. A woman who takes care of herself isn't less generous. She is more. Think with me. When you are at your breaking point, without proper sleep, without a moment to yourself, without energy, without clarity, how present are you really for the people you love? How do you listen? How do you respond? How do you love? You know the answer. Because you've lived it. You've been so depleted that every little thing felt huge. You've snapped at people you love without meaning to. You were there in body, but your soul was miles away. That isn't your fault. It's physics. It's human. You cannot pour from an empty cup. No one can. The woman who never takes care of herself isn't more generous. She is just operating on the edge. And when you operate on the edge for too long, a collapse is inevitable. The body pays the price. The mind pays the price. Relationships pay the price. And then you find yourself doing exactly what you feared most, failing the people you love, not because you don't care, but because you are empty. A whole woman, one who knows who she is, who respects her limits, and who is clear about what she needs, is a woman who loves from a full place. She is truly present, not just physically there. She has genuine patience, not a forced patience that eventually explodes. She gives out of choice, not out of exhausted obligation. That woman has more to give, not less. And if you have daughters, I need you to think about them for a moment. What are you teaching them? Not with your words, but with your example. With what they see you do every day, with the way they observe you treating yourself. Are they learning that women don't have needs? That self-care is selfish? That love is proven through silent, continuous sacrifice? Or are they learning that a woman can respect herself? That saying no is possible and healthy? That existing fully, with desires, with boundaries, with dreams of her own, isn't too much to ask? You cannot teach with words what you do not practice with actions. And what you model today, they will carry for the rest of their lives. It starts now. with what you decide to do with yourself. But I need to be honest with you about something. The guilt won't vanish overnight just because you now understand where it comes from. Just because you're seeing things through a new lens, it will still show up in the small things. The moment you sit down to rest, the moment you say no, the moment you choose yourself. It's automatic, it's old, it's deep. But there is a massive and life-changing difference between feeling the guilt and believing that the guilt is right. You can feel the guilt rise up. You can recognize it. You can look at it and say, I know you're there. I know you well. And you can still make the right decision. You can still choose you. That isn't ignoring the guilt. It's refusing to let it make the decisions for you. It's realizing that you have a choice, perhaps for the first time in a very long time. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about right now. I promised you practical tools. And that's exactly what I'm going to give you. Not theories, not pretty concepts that stay stuck in your head. I'm talking about things you can actually do in the real world with the life you have right now. Not with a perfect life that doesn't exist. Not after everything is settled. Right now. Exactly as things are. There are 3 of them, and I want to ask you one thing before I present each one. Don't try to do all 3 at once. Pick one, the one that makes the most sense to you today, and do it for 1 week. Just 1 week. That's it. Small is how we begin. Small is real. Small works. Tool 1, the 2-minute check-in. Every day, once a day, stop for 2 minutes and ask yourself 3 questions. It could be in the morning, before everyone else wakes up. It could be in the bathroom with the door locked. It could be in your car before you walk into the house after work. Wherever it works. 2 minutes. The 3 questions are, how am I actually feeling right now? Not how I should feel, not what I tell people, but the truth. What do I need today? Even if it's something tiny, even if it feels impossible. Is there one thing I can do for myself today? Even if it's only for 5 minutes. This isn't a journal. You don't have to write anything down. There are no right answers. It is simply the act of pausing, of turning inward, of asking yourself how you are. It sounds too simple, I know, my darling. But most women living on autopilot have stopped asking themselves these questions entirely. They know exactly how everyone else around them is doing, but they have no idea how they are. Starting to ask is an act of returning to yourself. And over time, this 2-minute pause will change the way you relate to your entire day. Tool 2. The automatic yes. Boundary. For 1 week, before you say yes to any request that isn't a true emergency, you are going to take a 30-second pause. 30 seconds, that's all. In that time, you're going to ask yourself, am I saying yes because I want to, or because I'm afraid of disappointing someone? Do I have the energy for this right now? If I say yes, what am I going to have to give up? You don't have to say no to everything. That's not the point. The point is getting out of the pilot's seat of your autopilot. It's about realizing you have a choice. Because when you choose consciously, even if you still choose to say yes, it feels different. It doesn't weigh the same. It doesn't drain you the same way. And when you do need to say no, you don't owe anyone a long explanation. You don't need to invent an excuse. You don't need to justify it as if you're committing a crime. You can simply say, I can't take that on right now, but thank you for thinking of me. Period. No drama, no guilt, no dissertation. You will feel uncomfortable the first few times. That's normal. That's the old program resisting the update. But every time you do it, you are proving to yourself that your needs matter. And that proof adds up. Tool 3, the 10-minute act. Once a week, you are going to set aside 10 whole minutes to do something that is just for you. No function, no purpose for anyone else. No need to be productive. Just because you like it, or because you used to like it and want to remember what that feels like. It could be flipping through a magazine you love, listening to a song with headphones on, eyes closed, doing nothing else. Taking a walk down the street with no specific destination and no dog. Sitting on the porch with a hot coffee and not touching your phone. Painting, writing, cooking something just for yourself. When the guilt shows up, and it will, you're going to acknowledge it like this. Oh, it's you again. I know who you are. I know where you come from. And then you're going to keep going. 10 minutes a week. That isn't a luxury. It isn't selfish. It is the beginning of a different relationship with yourself. Why do these 3 tools work? Because they don't demand that you change everything at once. They don't depend on anyone else changing. They don't need perfect conditions. They start from within with small choices that, when they accumulate over time, change the relationship you have with yourself. When you start treating yourself like you matter, your mind starts to believe that you matter. And when you believe you matter, truly, not just in theory, everything changes. The way you speak, the way you accept or refuse things, the way you see yourself in the mirror. And if you clicked on this video, it's because you already know it's time. Time to stop putting yourself off until later. And the ebook, The Woman I Forgot to Be, is the first step on that journey. A self-discovery guide created for women who are ready to put themselves first, perhaps for the first time in their lives. The link is pinned in the first comment. You don't have to feel ready, you just have to take the first step. If you had to describe who you are, not what you do, not the roles you play, not the responsibilities you carry, but who you truly are, in just 3 words, what would they be? Think about it. Try to find the answer. And if that answer didn't come easily, if your mind went blank for a moment, then you already know what your next step is. Tell me in the comments. I want to know. Truly. This isn't just part of a script. I really want to hear which words you chose. And tell me, which part of this video resonated with you the most today? Because this channel exists for a reason. To be the space that so many of us never had. A place for recognition, for new beginnings, and for reconnecting with who you've always been. Deep down, beneath everything life has piled on top of you. You've spent far too long taking care of everyone else. The time has come to take care of you. Not after the kids grow up, not after things quiet down, now. With what you have, in whatever way you can. One small step at a time. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, okay? I'll see you in the next video. Sending you a big hug, my darling.